That's the first thing you'd like to address?
Yes.
The first thing I would like to address is this fluorescent lighting, actually. I really would only like to make like one big change every week, right? So it's like, okay, we were in a noisy place. Now we're not in a noisy place. Now we're in an extremely poorly lit place. So next week,
We're going to have good lighting, no noise, but there'll be some other problem.
probably, but you're gonna roll with the punches. We're gonna tackle them as they come. There's no point in trying to fix everything at once.
We are problem solvers.
1,000%.
We solve problems.
Analytical thinkers, critical thinkers. Yes. Yes. All
Exactly.
right. Put a standardized test in front of me. I'll pass it.
I love standardized testing. I do really well. It's just memorizing.
And how has that translated into your daily life and your professional life, Georgia?
I have dropped out of university 3 times, but I've gone back each time.
Well, look at you.
That's how much I love and hate standardized testing.
When we would like take the test that's like with the multiple choice, then like they'd have the answer key and they would just like punch out the key, put that over ours, and then that's how they would mark if it was.
That's really smart.
It's pretty smart. Once again, I can't help but notice that we're going back to the old way of doing things.
I mean, why stray from what's good?
Why stray from what's good? It's like how Bluetooth sucks.
Yes. Okay, again, it's like...
When are we going to go back to wired headphones?
I mean, because Bluetooth has been around for long enough. There haven't been any improvements. So we have to regress. We have to go back.
We must regress. Regression is key. Have you heard about like the people with like the fetish of like regression?
No.
And she's like, I'm regressing, and then like after she declares, I am regressing, and like holds her hands up like this, then she like turns into a baby. I really wish that you would just come in and save me right now and just be like, I know.
I'm regressing.
Stop.
No idea what you're talking about.
You have no idea.
I trusted it was relevant at some point, and you weren't just randomly searching these things.
Why did I bring this up?
I have no idea.
It's because I got fixated on the word regress.
Yeah.
Yeah, funny our little fixations. What type of fixations do you have, Georgia?
Oh, you've put me on the spot. I really don't like it when other people touch my clothes. So my laundry experiences, let's bring that back here, are particularly painful. Not only because everyone at laundromat seems to hate me, but I have to let them touch my clothes. I'm really fixated on no one touching my clothes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm interested in the relationship with like clothes and then maybe like your personal space. And so like your bed. Like what about outside clothes on the bed?
Oh, okay. No, that's totally fine. Like after this, I will go home and I'll lie down on my bed. I'm gonna take my shoes off just because it's more comfortable. I don't want people's shoes on my bed or my clothes. But like my outside clothes,
It's like a religious experience taking your shoes off after a long day.
it's so good.
Yeah.
It's really the best thing. Sometimes I put my shoes on in the house just so I can later take them off and have that same experience.
That's not weird at all.
It's great.
Am I a bully? I'm so sorry.
But yeah, outside clothes on the bed are fine. Are you okay with outside clothes on the bed?
I'm very okay with outside clothes in the bed, but I also have pets.
I also have a pet, a dog, a small dog to be specific.
Just keep getting more and more specific.
A Jack Russell.
A Jack
A
Russell.
long-legged, short-tailed Jack Russell.
A
He was born
long-legged,
without a tail.
short-tailed, very hoppy Jack
Yeah.
Russell.
Yeah.
He loves to hop.
He does hop a lot. I think that's just a trait of the Russell.
Is it?
The Russell hustle. Jack attack. Yeah, they jump. They jump a lot. And they chase things. They chase everything. Irrelevant. But yeah, he sits on my bed. However, yes, there is that kind of element of like my bed's just gonna get a bit dirty because the dog goes onto it.
Yeah.
I am okay with my sleeping clothes, my outside clothes being on the bed. And also I like doing things on the bed. Like I thoroughly enjoy sitting with a cup of coffee and like my laptop or reading. Like my bed is for many things.
Okay.
Very
Interesting. Okay, because there's like a whole school of thought, right, about like the bed being this sanctuary, like it's like the sacred place that is like strictly for like sleep and sex and that's it, right? And so if like you're in it and you're not having sex and you're not sleeping, you need to get out of it immediately. So it's like, and you need to condition yourself, like, if you've been in bed, you're trying to sleep for too long, you need to get out until you get sleepy and then return. So that you have this association that, like, yes, the bed is strictly for, like, sleeping.
Sleep hygiene.
Sleep hygiene. That's table that for later. Tell me all about your sleep hygiene. Well, okay. Today we're talking about friends.
Yeah.
Like me and you.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at us.
Yeah.
Are we friends right now?
We're absolutely friends.
Very nice. Okay. This was gonna, if depending on your answer, this was gonna turn into an intervention. It was actually I wrote you a 5-paragraph essay.
Oh, another
with
one?
an intro. Oh my god.
Not for me. Sorry. Go on.
I am yet to write Georgia a 5-paragraph essay. I really doubt that I ever will. I think that, I might just send you a 3-minute audio message.
I received a 17-minute audio message from a friend one time. Wow, that was intense.
Well, was this before or after, like, WhatsApp, like, let you, like, change the speed?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't really do that when I listen to messages.
Really? You'll just
because
sit
usually
there.
people are respectful of my time and don't ramble on for 17 minutes.
That's
and
true.
if they do, usually I'll sit on my bed with a cup of coffee and listen to it and enjoy it.
Well, today's episode's about feeling lonely
Yeah. Well,
in a new place.
yeah. Well, you said it was about friends, but it is about feeling lonely because the opposite of having friends is not having friends. And
I.e. loneliness.
yeah, often when we don't have friends, we feel lonely.
Yes. Are you feeling lonely right now, Georgia?
I'm not. No.
You're not?
I
That's
feel
great.
like I have a pretty good circle of people around me who are kind, supportive, fun, all of the things.
All of the above.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I do not consider myself lonely either.
Excellent.
Yes, I feel actually quite fulfilled.
Great.
Fulfilled, loved, celebrated even.
Oh, wow.
Look at that. Look at that.
But did you always feel that way?
No.
Neither did I. Absolutely not.
Like, so where do I want to begin with that? That's kind of funny. We talked a little bit in the planning for this, like, about how you're gonna move to a new place. Like, I'm thinking when I first moved to Korea, it's like there's so many things. Like, you need to get the visa fixed, or you need to pack all your things. You're gonna say goodbye to all these different people. There's just so many things going on, and then you get there, you unpack the suitcase, and then you're just like,
what do I do now?
When's the party? When do my friends show up? They don't.
Because you don't have any.
You don't have any.
Or you do, but they're back home.
Literally. So that's a really uncomfortable situation to find yourself in.
Yes.
I think that when I find myself in that situation, I'm just like, ooh, it's just me out here. Like, this is pretty crazy. And then, depending on the circumstances, like if you have a job, you're going to school, then like things can be different. But did you experience that also?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my very similar thing when I was planning to leave, I said goodbye to all of my friends and family. It was a lot of social gatherings, and I was just like, oh, I'm so busy. I have to cut this brunch short because I have to go back and print out my boarding pass or whatever it was, all the things that I was doing. I don't know. I need to buy a travel adapter or iron my socks or whatever it is that I was doing.
I need to get a pillow for the plane.
Get really into the neck pillow. It's all my priority list, but I also want to say you and say goodbye. And then when I got to my destination, I was like, wow, this is all great, and I want to go out and see the sights and do the things, and I have no one to do it with, and no one's texting me except my mum, which is great. I love receiving texts from my mum. Maybe she's watching. Hi, Mum. I was like, oh, okay, and I have no one to go and get a coffee with. I have no one to share these new experiences with.
That's true.
Yeah, that I'm having.
That's really interesting, and I think that maybe another potential topic for us to table for later could be just traveling solo.
Yeah.
Right? And solo travel, I don't know how much you've done. I've done
Most
a lot
of
of
my
solo
travel has
traveling,
been
and I love it. It's fantastic. It is, it's definitely challenging, and it feels awkward for that very reason, right? It's like you gotta go get your coffee by yourself. That's fine, I do that here. You gotta go have breakfast by yourself. That's like kind of okay, right? But then it's like, it's dinner time, you see this really nice place, everyone's there like with families and couples and all these things, and it's just like, hello, it'll just be me, right?
Yeah.
Just like you and your little cup of wine and this nice meal, and just you, right? Just take yourself on a little date.
Yeah, I mean, it took me a really long time to get used to that. And yeah, I mean, it's nice to take yourself on a little date, but when you're doing it
Every day.
all the time,
Yeah.
like he said, I was like, oh. Yeah, and then I get home and cry in the shower.
So it feels really nice. It's a very religious experience to have a little
Yeah.
cry in the shower.
Oh yeah,
Especially after taking yourself out on a date.
I mean, speaking of spiritually cleansed. Yeah, but it's something that I had to learn to be okay with, and now I was gonna say I frequently take myself out to dinner. I don't, because I have a lot of friends, and usually.
Did you hear that, guys? Georgia has a lot of friends.
No, I have a lot of
Tons
friends.
them.
Oh, I
She's
have
swimming in friends.
The way that I've bonded with people has been like, let's go eat this thing. Like, have you tried this food? There's a really good restaurant that does that. But now I have over my many years of solo dining, I became very comfortable with it and enjoy it. So sometimes I will seek it out, but I don't always have to. Yeah, but it's been interesting with my sister, who recently embarked on her solo travel. She moved from Australia to Italy and now to London, and she was for a very long time really uncomfortable with taking herself out to eat.
Okay.
And she just wasn't doing it, and was like eating 2-minute noodles in her bed, or just at home or wherever she was staying, which is like fine to do, but she would not take herself out to eat. And I kept trying to be like, it's fine. It's like literally no one is looking at you. Also, if they are, which I'm pretty sure they're not, it doesn't matter. You
That's
are
because they think you're pretty.
exactly, you're pretty. But yeah, so it's just a thing that you need to kind of get used to until it becomes normal, I suppose. Yeah, but during that time of like getting used to it, maybe you've made some friends and you start to feel less lonely. So you're not alone all the time. You're just alone for your meals, and maybe you have a friend during the day. I don't know.
Or maybe you have a friend during the night.
Yeah, you can have friends for all times of days.
How have you made most of your friends in your travels?
So through taking classes, pretty much, like yoga classes, or I'd go to like, I don't know, a macrame class or pottery.
Yes.
Make
And you're
my
just
little-
going
my
up to
little
each person
teacups.
being like, hello, my name is Georgia, please be my friend.
Basically, that's what I did.
You know what, good for you.
Which was kind of like, in terms of like icebreakers, and sometimes you do have to be a little bit more forward.
Yeah.
So there were like some of my very good friends I made from like being in yoga classes and just being like, hi, I'm new here, I don't know anyone, would you like to get a coffee now? Like,
Yeah.
I need to make friends. And usually they're kind of like, oh, yeah, totally, sure. My work wasn't always the best place to meet people because, I mean, I guess this was just the schools that I worked in. When I was a teacher, I had like my class of students, and I'd maybe like talk to the person at the administration desk, and then I'd go into my class, and then I'd leave, and there wasn't like a teaching room or any sort of like social activities for that. So like maybe I would see someone, but then as I was there for longer, and I would see a new teacher in the hallway, I'd be like, do you need a friend?
Please. You're like, would you like to have a 3-in-1 with me? The 3-in-1s give me PTSD. No. I've had diverse experiences, I think, like trying to make friends throughout like my time out there. The first time I moved to Korea, I was a student, right? I was studying abroad, and so I was in this building with all of the other international students.
Right.
So it was just like, we were just thrown at each other. Everybody there was brand new. Everyone was from somewhere different. I also had 2 friends from NYU that were also there. And so like the 3 of us would just like hang out like at the beginning, and then like we made other friends, they had other friends. We like had this big network of
Introduce
people.
each other to those people.
Exactly, and it was easy. It was extremely easy, which is I think is why I had such fond memories of my time studying abroad. And then I went to go work there. And that was a very different experience. And so suddenly it's like I'm finding myself in this space. I'm like, I wasn't living like in Seoul proper. Like I was just a little bit outside. So it took me like 13 minutes to get to Gangnam. And I go to work at like 8 in the morning and I get out at 6:20. And so like there's not a lot of time there for me to like go out and make friends, right? I was the only foreigner at my job, but then like the Koreans that I worked with were all like much older, and they were all like there's just a lot of bullying. It was like a really toxic place. Table that for later. But there was just, I wasn't going to make a friend at work. And I accepted that.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way I'm going to make a friend at work. And then a lot of the friends that I had made while I was in Korea the time before had all gone back to their own countries, right? So I felt like a lot of my time I would just spend completely alone. Like I would just wake up, I go to the gym by myself, I go to work, I get out, I have dinner by myself, and like walk around, I come home, I was just by myself. It was a really good time, I think, like to learn about myself and what I like and what I want to do. And then finally, I had one friend who was like very social, and he like had tons and tons of friends from many different countries and local Korean friends. And then as I hung out with him more, I met other people, and then all of us started being friends, and then I just had like my little group, my little community.
Yeah.
And now here in Guadalajara, I in the beginning I was like, oh, what am I gonna do? Like, I ain't got no friends. What's going on here? So then, I tried to get out there. I went to like these like events and like couch surfing events, like events for like foreigners, language exchange, all of this different
Yeah,
stuff.
language exchanges are a great way to make friends too.
They can be pretty weird too.
They can be weird.
They can get pretty weird. They can get pretty weird. Who's weirder when you go to these places? Is it local people or is it the foreign people?
Ooh. Usually the foreign people, I want to say. There's just more diverse weirdness.
Yeah.
Whereas the things that I would consider weird about the local people tend to be more monotonous, I suppose.
That's true. Yeah, or maybe it's more palatable.
Yeah.
Like that, their type of like whatever. Like maybe they have issues with like being social and whatnot. Like I can handle that. Like and be like, girl, same. I'll just be like, we're in the same boat. I'm not here judging you. But with like the other foreigners, like sometimes I'm just like, I'm like, what? What are they talking about?
I mean, it was at events like that where I first kind of understood, for me, the true meaning of like vibes. Like you'd sort of see, like someone would say two sentences and you're like, oh,
yeah,
weird vibes,
weird
bad
vibes.
or even like good vibes. Yes.
And then I think my experience here, once I did start going to those things, is that I made a friend who is exactly like that friend I had in Korea. Very social, has all these different people. And then they have events, they have parties, they have things, they introduce me to their friends. And that's how you and I met.
Exactly.
So look at that, So that's the secret, guys. You keep hunting. Then you're going to find a really, really good friend. And that really, really good friend is going to have a bunch of other really good friends. And then you're going to be really good friends with all of those really good friends.
Exactly. But never before have I had to spend so much time like sorting through the weirdos.
Yeah.
Which not to say that they're weird for everyone. They're just weird for me. Okay. It's fun.
It's fun. It's
just different.
For the duration.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, what about like making friends like extremely quickly? Or like, don't you feel like when you're like in another country, like you just jump? It's just like, oh, it's like, hey, nice to meet you. And then like day 2, it's like, oh, like we're having lunch. And it's like, what are you doing for dinner? It's like, oh, I'm seeing you again. And then like 1 week later, it's just like, you're crying. It's just like, I don't know. I think I have to go back to my country. Like this thing's happening. What am I going to do?
Well,
it's not just me, right?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of related to what I was saying about the forwardness of when like me just seeing like another girl in a yoga class and being like, hi, do you want to be my friend? And she's like, oh, sure, yeah. It's blah, 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 I've lost my words. You have to be quite forward for that, like instead of just, okay, I feel like in my like regular life back home, maybe we would have seen each other and just like maybe had a chat, but I would have obviously had other things to do in my day. Like I would have had my family or my job or whatever it was. So I didn't have the same amount of time. So we could just be like, yeah, let's go get lunch now. And what are you doing tomorrow? And the next day, and I'm thinking about checking out this museum on Wednesday or whatever it is. I have less social things that I need to do. Therefore, my new friend can take up all of my social time.
Yes.
A good way to get to know someone really quickly. But yeah, most of like the friendships that I have made have been very fast that way.
Yeah. I think it makes sense. Very much for that reason. And I think that also like we have a bit of a like, at least with other foreigners, right? There's a shared understanding that like, hey, this person ain't got a lot of resources. This person might not have like a big like like support system, right? Like, they don't have their family here. I don't know how many friends they have.
Exactly.
The type of like
stresses.
Exactly. The way that I can feel like very isolated from like people and like things and whatnot. I imagine that might
my empath comes in, right? My empath side kicks in, and I'm just like, this person is also probably experiencing these things, so I can like jump in a little bit quicker, right? Whereas I feel like, in like the counterfactual, like what I imagine my life would be had I like stayed like in my like comfort zone and stayed where I was from, maybe I wouldn't do that, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I would just be like, oh well, they have people to take care of them, or they have someone to chat about those things with.
And when I've spoken about these experiences to family or other friends before, what they kind of feel is that it's almost a little bit invasive in a way. Whereas like to assume that someone doesn't have a support system or like does have all the time to do this, whereas that's not at all what it feels like in reality when you're actually practicing it. You're like, oh, I absolutely love that this person has thought that maybe I don't actually have that many friends or that many people to lean on, or like I'm a little bit lost in this new place, or that I would like to make more friends. It doesn't seem an invasion of privacy or space or anything like that. It just seems friendly and nice.
I agree, and I think when it's not welcome, it's very clear.
Yeah.
Like it's like when you're just like, oh, you're new here, cool. Like let me show you like all these different places that I went to, and like it's like because I'm thinking of my experience and like how long it took me to like develop all of this like awareness, right? So I'm like, if I like already have all this knowledge, why don't I just condense it real quick, right? And then I can just like present it to this person, and then they can maybe have like a better transition period. But sometimes they're not interested, and if they're not, then that's fine. So it's like, cool, never mind then, right? So I wouldn't take it personally. Like I wouldn't feel weird about it if someone made those assumptions about me. I think that at this point in my life, like I would very much welcome it. It's like, like I've been out here like trying to figure out things on my own, like enough for a while that it's like if someone wants to just be like, oh hey, like this is this and that's that, well great, please enlighten me. What about friends of convenience?
Yeah, well, again, when you've got all of this time in your hand and you don't really know anyone, and someone does extend that hand, and you're like, I really do just want someone to talk to about my experiences, or share a taco with, or like whatever it is. Sometimes those friends might not be people who you would maybe like who you truly feel connected to, or people who you would perhaps ordinarily hang out with, but they're kind of available and they like keen to go get a coffee or whatever it is, and it's like they're not your best friend, but they're convenient and during a time where there's not really a whole lot of other people around. So yeah, they're just friends of convenience.
It's just convenient, and it sounds like a bit transactional, but I mean it is. And I think that it's also like it's bilateral. It's like the other person very much, I think in most circumstances, is also seeing the friendship the same way. I had one friend in particular in Korea when I was working there, and I remember that like she was weird. I think she thought I was weird. Like I thought she was a little mean. I think she thought that I was a little dumb. Like it was like I could tell that like we didn't have like the best impression of the other, right? Yet we would hang out relatively frequently. We would go out and do things. There was some stuff that like yes I wanted to do. It would have been nicer to do it like with another person, and so we just kind of like did those things together. She helped me move. I was very thankful for that. Like I moved from one apartment to the other into Seoul proper. She helped me with that. She moved and I helped her, and then when she was going back to her country, like I went with her to the airport and like with all of her suitcases I did all these things. Like it was nice. And that was the last time I spoke to her. Actually, like just like the time that I like helped her with all of these suitcases and things to get to the airport, and then I just like sent her off, and I've not spoken to her since. And that's fine. I feel good. Like I served her, she served me. I think that there was a bit of like mutual respect. Like no one was like nasty to each other, but it was like I think that our friendship sort of reached a natural end, and never actually was like deep enough where I would like want to go out and like look for her. I would want to like maintain something with her. I think that I very much made peace with that. Like when I sent her off.
Yeah, I think that the idea of friends and convenience is not something that everyone can relate to. I think it tends to be people who crave more social interaction. Because I have spoken to some friends who have been more introverted, I suppose, is the word to use, and they don't have friends of convenience because they don't need them, or don't seek them out, or like if it's not someone who is like a quality friend, or they see the potential of them becoming a quality friend, then it's just kind of a waste of time. It's been energy draining. But I'm not like that. I kind of did appreciate the social interaction.
Yeah.
Even if
for what it was worth.
Yeah, exactly.
I think this is like the balance, right, between living in the moment, right, living in the moment and living like in the future and trying to invest in the future. It's like, okay, cool, like this friend might not be like, I might not see myself being friends with this person in like who knows X amount of time, but I mean, here they are. We can share some things, laugh about some things. I can learn something, maybe not. I don't know. Let's just go see how it goes. I feel like it's just kind of a more like attitude like that.
Yeah. I'll just be thinking like, well, it's better than hanging out by myself again.
Yeah. Not to say that we can't hang out by ourselves, because we know like, we do that also. But I think that just sometimes you want to just switch things up. Switch things up. Next, we've got people that have different opinions from us.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's a can of worms. Have you ever said can of worms out loud before?
I don't think so.
I think this is the first time in my life that I've ever said can of worms.
Did it feel weird?
It did feel kind of weird. I got a little nervous that they're not worms, that they're like a different, like wiggly beast. Or maybe it's not a can, it's another type of container.
Yeah.
But can of worms.
Yeah.
Let's open it.
Well, I mean, this can of worms that we're opening, I guess we should say that we're not really talking about like friends having differing opinions about being like, you don't like cilantro and I do.
Like pineapple on pizza.
Yeah, okay. Like these, okay, in my family, the pineapple on pizza is very controversial. However, it's more like, I've definitely come across many people who just do not see, they just have very differing opinions to my own. Someone who I met quite recently had declared that they just didn't think that the pay gap existed because they've never seen it before. Like, yeah, so it just doesn't exist. And I had to be like, well, I'm telling you that it does, because I have experienced it myself. Many of my friends and family and people around me have experienced it, and just because you have not experienced something doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
But I can't see it.
Yeah, it's not there.
It doesn't exist then.
It does exist, and it's maintained that no, I just don't think it does. Like, I think that you're wrong.
So I think what we're getting at here is that, like, if I was to meet someone like this, and like, the counterfactual again, like in my own country, and like I'm there and I'm living in it, and I have my system, I have my network there. I'd probably just never speak to that person again, right? Like maybe I'd pick a fight, and then I'd be like, you know what, I think you're an idiot, and you know what, that's really embarrassing and really sad that you think this, and I'm just gonna like throw a bunch of stuff and word vomit at them, and I'm gonna be like, well, you did it, you're a good liberal. I mean, that's all being a liberal is.
Educated.
I educated. Consider that man educated. And then you walk away from it and you just never think about them again, right? Whereas I think that when we're living in foreign countries, our social circles are smaller and our social circles are more intertwined. They overlap with other people's.
Yeah.
And so we might see that person again. And also, like, I just feel like I have a different lens. Like, I'm a bit more forgiving of people and their different views. That's something that 1,000%, like, yes, like, I know I would have no patience for somebody like that from my own country, in my own country, but being here, like, I can hear that and I can be like, okay. It becomes a little bit more like, it becomes more philosophical, and I can start to like try to like put terms to it. Like, I'd be like, oh, they probably think this because of this, or they might have an experience that has led them to like come to this. Like, it can be much more academic and more like a puzzle. Right? And then it's a puzzle and I'm trying to crack it. And then, I might not go seek this person, but like if they're somewhere that I happen to be, like, yeah, I will engage with them. And I think that's a really good opportunity really to challenge my own views. And that's something that I think that I maybe would not have done had I stayed in my own country. Like, it's to stay in your own echo chamber. God. I've never said that one out loud either.
Go home.
I'll say it again, echo chamber. You know, staying in your own echo chamber, right, which is like being around people who have the same opinions as you, who think the same way as you. It can be very toxic, and it can make you form more radical views. It can make you much less open-minded, and that's just not something that I'd like to do, right? But I can totally see how easy it is, especially looking at like my social media. Like everybody thinks the same way as me. Everybody has the same opinions as me. When I see someone that has something kind of shady or something out there, like, you know, I'll just unfollow them. I'll remove them. But in real life, now that like, you know, I'm here, I think I'm trying to learn more from these people. As long as it's not something like really out there, you know, like I'm not hanging out with any like neo-Nazis, right? But it's like, I do give people more of a benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, you can kind of go into such situations and conversations with a little bit more open-mindedness and curiosity, especially if you do have a very quite healthy outlook of it as you, which is just like, okay, well, what are they saying? Let me check my own beliefs and opinions, and if nothing else, like, oh, I'm learning what the other side thinks so that I can intelligently argue.
That's true, because also I feel like so much of when you only hear about like the other side online, you actually have no idea what they actually think.
Yes.
You have no idea like what part of the argument like makes them feel emotional, makes them feel excited, or what are they most passionate about. It's a complete mystery. It's a complete black box. But when you're actually like sitting across the table from somebody and they're telling you all of these things, and you're just like, what? But you can like actually observe it.
As a real human being,
A
as
true
well,
person.
not just like text on a screen.
Yeah, not just a username or a statistic. It's like, this is a real person that has this real opinion, and then suddenly it brings the humanity back. It brings the humanity back to these people that might have a very different look on life, and very different political views to you.
It's totally understandable as well that some people just don't want to listen to whatever this differing opinion is, because of their personal history with other people who've thought that as well. But there's some people have more tolerance for listening to differing opinions.
Those are like the different types of friends, right? We've talked about like friends of convenience, we've talked about friends of different opinions, and now how about real friends? So do you have real friends right now?
I do have real friends right now.
That's so nice.
It feels really nice. Yeah.
I have real friends too. It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
It's like a little family.
Yeah.
A little chosen family.
It feels comfortable, it feels natural, it feels normal, it feels safe. It also feels exciting, a safe place from which to explore. Yeah, it's
Love
really
that.
nice. Yeah, people who you can trust with things, people who will challenge you and hold you accountable for your actions as well.
Yes, and this is something that I maybe just because like I'm getting to this point in my life, but that's something that I just never really had before.
Right.
I think that I never really had like a group of people that would be like, but wait, Ricardo, like, why do you think that though? Or, oh, like, is it really that way? Like, I think I very much used to seek people who would just give me the instant validation that I wanted. They would just be like, oh yeah, it's really horrible, that thing that happened to you, or I can't believe that they did that to you. That was really messed up. Oh, what a bad situation. But now I feel like with this circle of friends that my reaction, is very important. People are just like, okay, well, what are we gonna do, right? There's much less rumination.
Problem solvers.
Problem solvers.
Or sometimes just listeners if that's what you need.
If that's what you need, because you just ask, right? It's like, well, what do you want right now? You just want sympathy, or you want you want to brainstorm, and then we can do either. I'm happy to provide either. So that's what I really like.
Yeah.
But our friendship, and I think about like all of our little friendships that we have here.
Yeah, but they take time to kind of develop, and we've had to go through a lot of different friends for us to realize the quality of the friends that we want and the friends that we have. And I don't think I would have been able to do that if I hadn't had these friends of convenience and other, shall I say, superficial friendships before.
So then what would you say that you're just kind of like looking for from friends or like socially, and do you think that you have it?
Ooh, okay. I want to answer the second question
All right,
first.
let's see.
Because yes, I do think that I have what I'm looking for, but what am I looking for? I don't actually know. I don't know if I could pinpoint it. And I have to say, for me, I don't think it's always healthy to have like specific guidelines for those sort of things, because like, say if I wrote a list of these things that I was looking for before I met you, and then you didn't tick some of them, then I might have discounted you as a friend.
Right.
However, you are an excellent friend. I guess I'm looking for people who are trustworthy, kind, willing to learn from, I guess, their own experiences in life.
Yeah.
And they hold people in their life to a standard. I don't really want to say like a high standard or a specific standard, but like they want everyone to be doing as well as they can with the resources that they have in the moment, and are willing to kind of like help and support those friends in some way. Also the ability to just like spend time with these people, and that time doesn't have to always be productive. It can just be like pure relaxing time, like just hanging out in the park or going for a walk or having like unsocial social time where we just sit kind of silently and have coffee together.
And each just kind of do their own thing.
Yeah.
That can be nice sometimes. I agree.
Yeah. Ooh, what are you looking for? And do you have it?
I think that, I'm looking to have a good time, right? I love to just have fun. I love to have a nice chat.
I don't like that at all.
That's why we're not friends. I also am looking, to have my ideas challenged in a respectful way, right? I'm looking for growth. I'm looking to learn. And I think that these are all slightly different priorities than what I've had as I've socialized in the past. And I think that, my friends currently provide that. I think that forming like long-term like connections with people is something that's nice, because it's just nice that like, you share more time, you've shared more things, you have more context for the other person, you know how to like better like provide for this person, they understand more things. I don't need to give you so much background info before I like tell you like what I want to say.
Yeah.
That's a really nice thing to have, right? It's not a requirement, but it's cool that when it's there. Well, I think that concludes our little episode.
Oh, that was nice.
It was
Warm
a really
and
nice
fuzzies.
one.
We've got some
warm
good
and fuzzy.
friends.
Look at that. Oh.
We thank all of our friends. Thank you.
Let us all just say out loud how grateful we are
Yeah.
for the people that we have in our life.
Yeah, that's nice.
All right. And with that, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.